Hello and welcome to this special on the print. I'm Snesh Alex Philip and I look after defense and security issues here at the print. Today we are discussing a very important topic. If you have been following the print, you would know that the government is almost in the final stages of finalizing a new recruitment policy for the armed forces. Now, this has been under discussion over the last 2 years since March 2020. But now it has almost been finalized. The DMA has finalized it, has gone to the Defense Ministry. Now the highest office, that is the PMO, is looking after it. So it's possible that this could be announced very soon. It's called the Tour of Duty, as I mentioned earlier. Now, what is this Tour of Duty? Why it is being done so? What are the nuances of this new recruitment policy? What happens to the existing policy? There are multiple questions that are there in your mind as well as in my mind. And hence we have a very special guest here. I have with me Major General Yash Mor, who's now retired from the army, and somebody who's been very vocal about the fact that for the last 2 years there has not been any recruitment rallies being conducted by the army, the Air Force, or the Navy. Now, what this has led to is a vacancy of nearly about 130,000. Of the majority of which is from the army, about 1.2 lakhs. So welcome to the print, General Mor.
Thank you, Sresh. Always a pleasure being on your platform.
So, what is this Tour of Duty? If you could explain to your viewers.
See, frankly, I haven't seen any real proposal in my service. I've only read what is there in the open media and what has been going on in the military. Discussion on this is on for last about 2-3 years. Yeah. That the pension bill is too high, and to save money for capital procurement or to invest money in modernization of the army, we need to reduce the expenditure on pay, allowances, pension. Also, that appears to be the aim. So probably taking cue from many foreign countries where people come in the service for 2 years, 3 years, and then leave, get disciplined and leave. You don't have to pay them much. You don't have to pay and allowances, medical. They just come and go back into the CV street. That probably is the aim. So I also know that this has been on, and they've given it very name like Agniveer and Agnipath and things like that. And initially it was about 100 officers and 1,000 men to be brought in with this as an experiment. Now I believe the proposal for the officers has been shot down by the service headquarters themselves, because you can't get officers for 2 years, and not in India, at least not presently. And about men, I think the proposal is seriously going on. So that is what I know about this. I have been vocal, and this thing about the rallies, you're right on that, because I come from rural area. I am in touch with my roots, which is in rural Haryana. I meet a lot of young people when I travel, and I'm in touch through my YouTube channel, my writings, all with the young generation of India across the country. So I see their pain. I see them running. They approach me, and for 2 years, Snesh, they have cleared their exams. Many of them have cleared their medical. For Air Force X and Y group and Navy SSR, Snesh, it is as difficult, I'm telling you, to get recruited as it is for an officer. It is almost equal, I'm telling you. That is the kind of preparation these children put through to get that particular job. So there has been it's held in limbo. Nothing is coming out. So children are really at the brink of sadness, that why they are, and they're getting overage. So that is one issue. Second issue is medical is invalid after 6 months. If you don't get recruited within 6 months of your medical fit, you have to go back to medical again, back to drawing board. So these are issues which I'm sure you are aware, and the country is also aware of them. So Tour of Duty seems to be fill up this particular gap. That's what I think.
So, but what about the larger ramification on the armed forces? Now, before you answer this question, sir, when a Jawan gets recruited, what is his usual tenure in the army? Or when does his pension kick in? And, what are the years of service that he has to put in, sir?
A Jawan goes through very stringent recruitment process. Especially last few years, it has been digitized. There is a very serious written test they undergo. They undergo a physical test, which is very tough, really tough physical test to get into the merit there. Then that the physical part and the written exam, they make a common merit. And then, we have the way our regiments are there. There is a reservation on certain caste, communities, and regions. So you have to get into that quota. Then you report to the training center. Training center is anything up to 9 months to 10 months, 11 months is the training, just to be a recruit, just to be. After that, you get into the units. There, depending on what trade you get, you can be a driver, you can be an operator, you can be a gunner. I'm only talking of mechanized forces. But then you go into air defense, you go into engineers, then ordnance, ASC, our army and the kind of role. Then you get into different trades. There are more than 150, 200 trades in the army. Then you undergo many trade tests too. It takes 5, 6, 7, 8 years for a soldier to come up to a level where independently he can handle a tank or a BMP or a gun or an air defense system. So that is the kind of investment of time and training that the army puts into its soldiers.
And then he retires when, sir?
Yeah. So the second part of the question. So minimum color service, we call it, is 15 years. So a soldier needs to do minimum 15 years to earn a pension. And the issue is, Snesh, almost 90% of our army is rural based. So they have left their families, their children behind, their parents behind. So after 15 years, between 15 and 20, and again, there's a pyramid for JCOs overall. So everybody doesn't become a Havaldar or a Subedar. So many of them, they take a call, okay, 15 years we have done, now time to leave the army and start the second innings. And there are reservations also in states for ex-servicemen. So they can become teachers, they join police. So they go back home, take care of their children, their farmland, their parents, old parents and all. So 15 years is the time that they serve compulsorily to earn a pension, and they can start the second innings. So now what is happening is, because this 2 years, you have not given them, no recruitment has come. So this 15 years PMR, we call it, is almost stopped. It is trickle now. Only emergency cases are going. So there's a large chunk of people in the army who would be wanting to go back now home, because they've stayed away from their families for last 15, 16, 17, 18 years. So this is also an issue.
So for the viewers, when General Moore mentioned PMR, it is called premature retirement. So 15 years is the minimum that you need to serve to earn a pension. It doesn't mean that everybody retires at the age of 15 years of service. General, you mentioned something very important. The tour of duty is for 3 years. Now for Jawans, you mentioned that it takes about 5 to 6 years to actually train a Jawan. And when he mentions soldiers, he's talking about the other ranks, the ORs, which is the Jawans, Havaldars, the JCOs and all, below officers. So when it takes 5 to 7 years for a young lad to turn into an independent soldier who can handle his own stuff, how would the army manage in 3 years, sir?
That is why, Snesh, I've been a bit vocal about this issue. It looked very nice when it was talked of 3 years back that it will be like this and all that. So now I think you put this effort in NCC, expand your NCC units. If people want a feel of uniform, then in school, college, you can do that. Then territorial army is another option, where you come for 2-3 months a year. You go back every year, you can come for, or you can serve for longer also. But in regular army, a person, there are 2-3 issues. Firstly is training. You can't just give a uniform and and bolo, now you go, because there is the version people have in mind is what they see from Bollywood and all that. Armies, you go to mountains, you carry an AK-47 and you shoot people around, and wo ek impression hai. That is why people are thinking ki Agniveer ban jayenge hum. Aisa nahi hai. Army is quite a tough life and quite regulated life. It's a way of life. It takes long time to be a seasoned soldier or even an officer. So if you come for 3 years, what will be the state of discipline of these people? Because discipline is the benchmark of a strong army. Because Absolutely. When you have to serve for 15 years, Sinesh, then you follow the rules and regulations. And then everyone knows, see, I have to serve for 15 years. This is the parameters in which I have to stay. With 3 years service, you're not going to earn pension and this job. So what kind of motivation, morale after some time will these people have? Will they affect the rest of the army? What is the impact it's going to be on the regular person, the person who is in the same barrack, who knows he's there for the long haul? Pehli baat ye. Second thing is, in India, still military, the paramilitary forces, these are large employment generation avenues available to the youth of the country. You can't just deny that, this particular aspect. if we were so concerned of having a young army and reducing our pension bill, why we have not been able to sidestep our soldiers into paramilitary forces or into police forces in bulk? Why couldn't we do that? Okay, you won't get pension here, but you will be, after a certain 7, 8 years, whatever, that we can work out, you sidestep to the police or the paramilitary forces where they need trained manpower. That we have not been able to do. So this thing is that they will go to corporate. Corporate, I've been saying, Snesh, corporate today, you know what is the state of our Jawans when they retire? What jobs are they given? Gunmen outside a bank, or some menial jobs of security guards. Which corporate is looking at soldiers who are 10th or 12th pass with skills, military skills, no civil skills, to join corporate with handsome salary? Our engineering colleges graduates are not getting jobs. Will they take these people? So there are people somehow, I feel, don't understand the reality that is there in India today as far as jobs are concerned. And putting a guy with 3 years service in the military now thinking he will be very fit for corporate and all that, I think there is some misplaced notions there.
Of course, when I speak to people in the army, they also raise multiple concerns. Some of these concerns have been raised by you as well. But do you think, you said when it first was talked about, you felt it was a good idea. Do you think that this tour of duty is good or bad?
Now I don't see much merit in it. Firstly, we must recruit these people. Firstly, we must give age relaxation to people who have not been able to join because of the system fault. All academies are running full, Snesh. SSBs are full. Every day, 100, 200 children are reporting for SSBs. Screening in is going on. The Naval Academy, the Air Force Academy, the NDA, the OTA, the IMA, all running at their optimum. Why haven't we recruited our soldiers? Somebody should be asking this question. And this 3 years gap of no young people coming in, this will create issues for us 15, 20 years later. 15, 20 years later, when there'll be vacuum in technical units, especially, or mechanized forces, artillery, AD, engineers. You need experienced people. If we have to fight a war, and then there's one segment of people are not available, whom you have not been able to train because you never got them inside. So I'm sure somebody would be wanting to analyze this part. If you don't run one course in NDA or one course in IMA, I can tell you the repercussions which will be there 15, 20 years later. But these are soldiers, and more than 1 lakh in the army only.
Yeah, and viewers, you would be amazed to know that about 60,000 soldiers retire every year from the army. So, which means that there's a vacancy of 60,000 being created every single year. Generally, now the government has been concerned about the growing pension, the growing expenditure. Now, you have across the world, even China, for that matter, if you talk about an immediate neighbor with whom we're having tensions, has gone ahead and has reduced the number of soldiers. It is focused more on tech. It is focused more on, defense systems, attack options which are there. Even the US, for that matter, has gone ahead and reduced. So globally, they're reducing the number of people in the armed forces, with emergence of technology. In India, we're still a huge army. And of course, the salary bill goes up. The pensions, when they retire, the pensions go up. The government is concerned, the armed forces are also generally concerned because these pensions eat into the overall defense budget, So how does one really handle this, sir? The need for the need for employment, the need to have soldiers, also the need to spend more and reduce pension bills. How does this? It's like a vicious circle which goes on.
I understand this. I totally understand this, Nish, and efforts have been there. In fact, you remember even a decade back, one of the chiefs spoke of reducing the army by 50,000 people.
Yes,
more than a decade back. So we have been alive to this for at least last 2-3 decades. We need to reduce our pay bills, reduce our pension bills, reduce the manpower, so that more of technology comes in. And I agree that we need to reduce the size of the military, but you can't do this by using COVID as an excuse and having no recruitment for 2.5 years. And even today, you take a decision, it takes 6 months for you to get the first man inside the center. So this has been I don't know where the fault lies. So, but let's do it in a systematic manner. Let's identify which are these billets, which we can do about? Which are the jobs which can be outsourced? Those are your static establishment. There we can have civilian manpower, or there we can have, people who are, but still in this country, combat arms are very important. Services, we further need to reduce. We need to reduce the logistic elements. We need to imagine how the future wars will be fought and prepare accordingly. But you see, Kargil happened, and we suddenly realized, no, we can't disband the pioneer companies. Then Kargil and Northeast, we decided no, animal transport is still required in certain sectors, so we had to. So our problems are little unique. They are different. You are almost a military man. You understand the military so well. So different areas have different challenges. But I still agree. Yes, we need to reduce it, but we need to be a little more deliberate. Need to span it out over a period of time. Say cut 5,000, 10,000 every year, and do it over a period of 10 years or so. Then probably you'll be able to, and infusion of technology, and some jobs can be outsourced. I totally agree with you. A lot of jobs can be outsourced. We need to identify those jobs that can be identified. They're mostly in static formation, static places. Though that can be done, and that I'm sure is being done also.
So thank you so much, General, for speaking on this issue and enlightening our viewers on various facets of this tour of duty, the implications, the reasoning, and why it's so. I think both General Moore and I are actually waiting for the final document to come out about the tour of duty to really understand where is this headed, and until then we will hold on our horses to the actual opinions, because I also have, I speak to multiple people, including General Moore. Even I have my own doubts and reservations about the whole thing, but I think we'll all wait for the document to be actually out, the final details to be out. And when it is out, of course, we'll have another session with General Moore to tell you more on that. Thank you so much, General Moore. It was a pleasure hosting you here at the Print.
Thank you. Always pleasure to talk to you. Thank you, Snesh.